So the movie of the week this week is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. It was released in 1993, and it's based on the very popular Batman animated TV series at the time. Same voice actors and everything, and it was released in cinemas all in America. I don't think it came out in the UK, I'm not too sure on that. So the plot is sort of based on, very loosely based on Batman Year One. Very much more plays up to the love between Bruce and this new character, Andrea, and also the mystery of who is the Phantasm. While it did bomb really badly at the box office, a lot of people really like it. So 5 thoughts or less, guys. 5 words or less, sorry. Cousin?
Really good Batman movie.
Alright, George?
Surprisingly awesome.
Where's everyone gone?
Nobody knows. So excited for this.
Ryoga!
Wake up!
Alright, so my 5 words, I kind of already said it earlier, but Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. I can't think of anything better to say. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I got it. Batman: Mask of the Orgasm.
Very creative.
A little lowbrow.
Come on.
Alright, so I really liked it.
Yeah.
I did too, surprisingly, because like our viewers don't know this, but I don't particularly care that much for Batman the Animated Series, but this was incredibly well done. I mean, like really well done in terms of like an animated, like from people who only worked on a television show to go from a transition from television show to movie. It's really impressive in that.
Yeah,
regard.
well, I mean, what I heard happened is they had planned it as a direct-to-video movie, but then Warner Brothers was like, "Hey, it's looking pretty good. Why don't we release it in theaters?" Because the Batman franchise was going strong at that point. They had Batman and Batman Returns, and they were like, "Hey, why don't we do this?" And they're like,
it was also
okay. So they released it in theaters, but then no one went to see it, so that kind of sucked.
Yeah, and as a nostalgia critic put it out, it came out around the same time as Batman Forever did. And so I think that explains why a lot of people didn't go get to see it. Ironically, they missed out and went to go see the worst Batman movie ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Something came up outside, so I had to leave a bit, and my recording got stopped as well. So sorry about that. But I do hear you guys doing Mask of the Phantasm, so you could carry on.
So we're just talking about like why I didn't get so much seen in the cinema. I think as well, like it was animated, so maybe some people were like, "What is this? This is just like." It doesn't really seem as expensive as like a live action movie, like.
And it seems they fought, and animation is usually fought off as a kiddie kind of thing. Ironically, the adult movie was more kiddie-ish than the animated movie.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry.
Also, like the animation does look a lot like TV animation. It's not like it's not really like cinema quality,
Yeah,
I was about to say, I think the animation, even though it's really good, I think for a cinematic release, where people are paying, like 5 to 10 quid to see it in the cinema, it wasn't really, it doesn't really hold up.
Yeah.
As a cinema release.
Yeah.
I think it's from what I can gather with Mask of the Phantasm, it was supposedly made as a direct-to-video or original.
Oh, we
video
already talked about this.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about So and the fact that it just came out in the movie on such short notice, with very little marketing. Yeah, so that's probably one factor there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, okay, the other thing I did like about it, even though the animation wasn't amazing, the fucking music just elevates it to, like, even though, like, the animation, like Batman's like throttling the Joker, like the animation just like blow you away or anything.
Yeah.
The music just like, the music is just so fucking epic.
Yeah.
You just think you're watching the most awesome moment in film history.
The only thing is that like they have this like great like bombastic like choir at some points, and like the music's really epic. Then all of a sudden you have the Joker theme from like the animated series. It's like and I'm like, okay.
yeah.
It kind of brings it down for me, but yeah, like the music is just like, yeah, you're right. It's very elevating. Like it heightens the action.
Yeah.
And the drama too.
The moment like at the end where everything is burning and you've just had the Joker laughing and the music, it just it literally is like how if hell happened on Earth and there was a band making music for it, this is exactly what it would sound like.
So like there was a concert going on and then the intro like, oh fuck, hell's happening. Like, quick, play the hell tune.
Really, really cool. Ryoga?
Yeah, I think that we pretty much have a universal consensus here that Mask of the Phantasm is one of the best animated movies that came out during the 90s. Then again, it's also Bruce Timm's work, and pretty much what he did during his time with the DC franchise has always been very, very good. I mean, this is basically one of the things that I love about Bruce Timm. Is that he can make a really dark film, but not too grim dark, but just enough to give a bit of a maturity. Not much gore, not much sex, but give it a bit of a grown-up nature. That's something that you feel. He does this in the animated series. He does this well also with Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
And we don't see that many animated series today that actually has that level of maturity. That's what Bruce Timm has done.
Yeah, and I think it really benefited from the fact that it was like it takes place in a established universe. Like they didn't have to do They didn't have to do something with the comic book universe. So this is basically Bruce Timm's very own universe. They did call it the DCAU, I think. Yeah. DC animated universe. Yeah, because it is canon with Batman the Animated Series, and then like Justice League and Batman Beyond and whatnot. So yeah, I thought it really benefited from that.
Although I mean, like one thing with that is it's not really explained in the series. Like at the end, Andrea like takes the Joker away in a cloud of smoke, and he just sort of appears back in the TV series without an explanation. I have read it's explained in a comic or something. It's just like, okay, you explain the comic, but you could explain it in the series. Just one line.
But I mean, the other thing too is like that happens all the time with the Joker. Like he dies and then he just comes back and nothing's explained, but he's back. Like even in the comics, like he dies and like fires all the time. He's just back.
Which is basically he has died in the last arc, Death in the Family. But now in the most recent story arcs, we see the Joker is back again, with very little explanation how he survived that part. So the Joker is pretty much the ultimate villain for the Batman. So it's not unusual that he would be killed off and then only be brought back again, because he is the absolute nemesis of Batman. His complete opposite. No other villain could match that. So,
and in the Justice League cartoon, the Phantasm actually comes back for a cameo. So
yes, I think I forgot what episode is that.
I think Epilogue is what it's called.
Epilogue. Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, yes, the comic book version is canon to the animated series. And I don't have it anymore, but we did make a discussion last time where the most recent one of the most recent issues that came out actually explained the relationship between Bruce and Barbara, which was the factor on Dick Grayson's separation with Bruce.
That's a bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
Why don't we go on to the plot, I guess?
Yeah, so like I said in
Yeah.
the opening, it's sort of based on Batman Year One, so it does explain the DC animated universe's origin of Batman. Quite similar to Frank Miller in a number of ways. I mean, one of them, for example, is you see before he becomes Batman, he's still fighting crime. He's sort of dressed up in like all black and like, you know, almost like a kind of a robber, really. And he finds out although he can defeat his enemies, he can't impose the fear and superstition that he needs to have the edge. So, and then it has his inspiration to become Batman. A bit different from Frank Miller's one and how it happens, but yeah. Another one is the opening where you have all the kind of like the gangsters, leader gangsters, whatever, sitting on a very long table, and Batman jumps in and starts fighting them. That's the Frank Miller comic as well. And one final major difference I noticed was you see Batman retreating to a construction site with all the authorities chasing after him.
Right.
It ends differently to the comic, but again, it's a very, very strong comparison. I just thought it was kind of interesting that they did that, but they deviated quite heavily in the story.
Yeah, and I think the Phantasm was also based on a comic character called the Reaper. I don't know if Ryoga, you know anything about him, but
No, unfortunately, I'm not that much into DC lore, so.
I forget what comic arc he's from, but yeah, they based the Phantasm a little bit on the Reaper character, so I don't know if that had anything to do with the story, but
I'm not too sure either.
Yeah.
So with like did the plot keep you invested?
Oh
yeah, definitely. I mean, like I'm really a sucker for like the love story and like the star-crossed lovers who can't be together even though they love each other. And we're doing spoilers, right?
Well,
Yeah,
Of course we are. We always do it.
Yeah. I'm just making sure. Yeah, and just like the fact that the girl that Batman is in love with and like really had this deep connection with is like ideologically probably one of his worst enemies, because they do have that connection, but Batman will not kill, and the only thing that the Phantasm does is kill.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, I mean, like with the Joker, Batman won't kill the Joker because he doesn't believe killing just doesn't solve anything.
Yeah.
While Andrea, the Phantasm, she's not really a villain, and she's an antagonist to Batman.
Yeah.
But she's just doing what he does, but in a more murderous fashion. So,
yeah, I mean, like,
not
at
only
the beginning, they think that the Phantasm is Batman, right?
Yeah. So not only does he not want to stop her because you can see that she's trying to be good in a way.
Mm-hmm.
He can't stop her, and he can't kill her obviously out of his own moral code.
Yeah.
But like he has this like emotional connection, like exactly as you said, that kind of just stops him really like properly fighting at all.
Yeah, and it stops them from being together too, which is also kind of sad.
Yeah,
and it's also provides. The tragedy here is that it also establishes how Batman makes it a sort of a policy that as long as he's Batman and as long as he's fighting crime, that he's pretty much restricted himself from having any personal relationships with any of the female characters he encounters.
Right.
Even though he did manage to break that at some point.
There's always going to be someone waiting for him to come home, right? And he can't deal with that.
Which is kind of
game.
Yeah, which is why I'm sort of bummed out because not to wander off a bit, but considering in the Justice League they are showing the romantic interest between Bruce and Diana, Batman and Wonder Woman, and they had such a great chemistry there. that it was said that because of what happened with Mask of the Phantasm, Bruce, as much as he loves Diana, he really can't open himself up to her, even though Diana proves time and time again she can handle herself with whatever situation she's in.
Yeah. And I think he says it really, really well when he's talking to his parents at the graveyard, where he's like, I didn't expect to be happy.
Yeah.
That really got me.
Yeah.
Like, you feel kind of stupid, right? Because it's like this animated Batman movie, but like it's pretty deep. Like, like Mom, Dad, like, please, like let me, I didn't expect to be happy,
Exactly.
Like he made this vow to his parents as an 11-year-old kid that like, I will avenge you. He wasn't thinking that, in 20 years he's gonna find a girl and fall in love with her and want more. And yet he feels this sense of like duty to behold himself to a vow he made when he was 11 years old after this traumatic event, like,
I kind of wish they did the same thing with Gotham. Just saying.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there are some, some deep stuff, and then you have the Joker coming in and just messing everything up. And
what do you think of the inclusion of the Joker, actually?
I actually really liked it because if you only have Batman and the Phantasm, you need a third party to kind of make it move along more.
A memorable third party.
Yeah, and also I liked how they had the Joker as like one of the mobsters, like back in the day before he was the Joker. I don't know. I thought that was a nice touch, and it gave him a bit of a backstory too.
I like it. Was a very good balance between showing like a little bit of before what he might have been like, but not exactly explaining what happened to him. I think that was good.
Yeah, exactly.
George,
I have to really agree on that point about the Joker, mostly because you give up the point because it's it was just Batman and the Phantasm and the love story. It would be salvageable for the film, but it wouldn't be as like gripping as it was in the film. And I don't feel like his inclusion in the film wasn't like just tacked on, like, oh, it's a Batman movie, we have to have the Joker. It felt like he was relevant to the plot and what was going on.
Yeah. And on the other hand, it is a Batman movie, and you have to have the Joker. So, it's a nice marriage.
I think the reason why they would include the Joker is that, considering that the Phantasm is an original character here and not an established villain, that probably adds a bit of a risk on whether or not that villain would pretty much be as good as the other characters that's introduced in the DCAU. So the Joker was not there just to let everybody know the Joker was there. But in part, he was there to actually push the Phantasm as a character that Batman has to face.
I agree.
In a way that he, in a way, he would the Phantasm, Andrea, or rather, was put in the same The Joker was there to push Andrea to be at the same level as the Joker. Should he and Bruce finally square off?
Yeah, I agree, and I liked the fact that they all had history, like. It just added like another layer to the conflict.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing that I found kind of like weird was that Bruce and Andrea meet at the graveyard, right?
Yeah.
And that's the first time they've ever talked ever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that they're friendly, they're talking and stuff. And then like 2 days to a week later, Andrea just kind of shows up at his house, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't get a call," and then they make out.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit weird.
I don't know. Like, I guess it could happen, among the elite.
It's never happened to me, mate.
But, yeah, I know, like, right? Like,
I wish that would happen to me.
And then that moment, your mum walks in. George.
Yeah, I don't know. It just felt a little, unrealistic, but I also acknowledge the fact that, you have to move the story along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that, like, politician guy?
Harvey
That
Dent.
is no, that's like
That's way
the
too
one that's
obvious.
like kind of dating Andrea at the beginning.
He's not a politician. He was like, oh no wait, what was he again? He was like some sort of like lawyer person, wasn't he? I can't
I don't
remember.
He was just a dick who was trying to give a bad name to Batman.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah.
He was just there. He was like a side character. He's just there for the plot.
Yeah.
He was just there
Yeah.
for the plot, really,
Yeah.
and for you to hate him.
Arthur
Right,
Reed,
like-
you mean?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like he gets the Joker toxin and kind of freaks out. I thought that was a good scene
Yeah,
where Batman goes and visits him at the hospital.
yeah.
Oh, another really good scene, in my opinion, is the one in the Batcave when Bruce puts on the cowl for the first time.
Yeah, that's so well
Right,
done.
get out.
And he
Oh,
turns around
awesome.
and Alfred is like scared of him for a second and he just walks by. Like it's
I wish
Yeah.
they had that in the Nolan film, actually.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the one thing I also like. It does establish it. The movie also sort of establishes what made Batman choose the bat design for his costume,
Yeah.
and emphasizes that in order to make his vigilante activities more effective, he has to first install fear onto his
Yeah.
enemies.
and you know
And
now
Yeah.
that I'm thinking of it, like he first finds the Batcave when he's with Andrea, right? And like the bats
Right.
fly up. So
Mhm.
for him to pick the bat as like his symbol, do you think that was also kind of like, you know, in remembrance of Andrea? Like for the rest of his life, he is a bat, and the first time he ever like encountered the bats was when he proposed to Andrea. Like,
It's actually a very interesting question.
that's
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's very, very astute.
yeah. I don't know, I just thought of it. And like when she leaves him, that's when he decides to become the Batman and nothing else.
Yeah.
Like Bruce Wayne kind of
Yeah.
dies, that becomes his mask, and he becomes the Batman.
Batman. That's actually
Yeah.
that's a really good observation, Carson. And I think, and I will gonna have to agree with that, because considering
Yeah,
that
me as well.
his motivation to becoming the Bat is through tragedy, and at that point when Andrea declined, is that basically just the end of Bruce Wayne as a persona, and Bruce just pretty much
Yeah.
accepts his role of being forever a vigilante and forever as Batman, without holding back.
Yeah.
And again, that adds to the tragedy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really
His character.
does.
man, I'm getting teary-eyed, man. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go have some more ginger ale. Excuse me, guys. No, seriously.
I mean,
man,
at
that's-
some point in the future, we kind of talked about it on the group page, but hopefully we'll do a Batman month, which do some
Mhm.
Batman films. It's gonna be really
yeah.
interesting comparing Mask of the Phantasm to Batman Year One, which is based on the Frank Miller comic,
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
because you can see that the similar scenes, and also, but
Yeah.
sorry, but like how he gets his inspiration is kind of cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anything more to say on the film? Like maybe voice acting? Was it good?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it's-
voice acting
Oh yeah,
was-
there's no doubt.
They're very
about it.
good.
Voice acting is pretty much one of the top notches there. So
yeah.
I
there's no
didn't
question.
think this was Mark Hamill's best.
Yeah, I
Joker.
agree.
No, I don't think
But-
Mark didn't even mind not taking a step back in his role as a Joker here, since his Joker is pretty much more of a supporting role to push
Mhm.
Andrea. So
Yeah,
I don't think this is his best work, but he didn't seem to mind at all.
Yeah,
so he
like
doesn't have to like really push
Yeah.
it.
because I've been watching like the first season or so of Batman the Animated Series kind of off and on recently, and he like the way that he does the Joker's voice in season 1 is very different from like what we get in the Arkham games.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think
Oh, yeah.
I think Mask of the Phantasm is like a nice middle ground, but I
Mhm.
definitely prefer
Yeah.
the Arkham game.
Oh yeah, same here. I mean, the Arkham games have has easily, I think, his best performance in terms of like his whole, at least in my opinion, his whole career, especially in Arkham City, which is still one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, I agree.
And I agree. Yeah, sorry, even then, he's still good in this. He's still good in this. He's just not like as good as like.
Yeah, it's definitely a very good Joker performance, but I think even like Return of the Joker, he's a little better.
Yeah,
but I also think it was still pretty early in his career as the Joker, so he was still kind of finding his voice, I think.
Yeah, and he does that like I said before, he does that amazing laugh when Andrea has him, and the music just lifts it up.
It really, it's that laugh is like haunting in the moment.
Yeah, that moment was like one of the best pieces of animation I've ever seen.
And I think that's another thing that's really good about this movie is like it's full of moments and great moments, and I really love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the moments don't overshadow like some of the other aspects of the movie. Like the story is a very well done story. The voice actors are great. The music is fucking amazing. The animation is very.
It's a good twist as well. Sorry. I mean, like the first.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's because I'm dumb, but like the first time, until very far away into the film, I didn't see Andrea being the Phantasm.
Oh yeah.
I was really sold that it was going to be her dad.
Same.
Yeah, like I don't know. I saw this movie for the first time when I was like really young. So like it's just kind of been in my head my whole life that like Andrea was the Phantom. You know, I kind of envy the fact that you got that reveal.
Yeah. I've never seen it up until this point, and that twist really surprised me. I mean, I think that really caught me off guard in terms of what was going on. I thought for sure it was going to be like the politician guy who was making a bad name for the Batman or something like that. Or like you said, it was going to be his father, but still, it just damn.
Yeah, because I forgot. I was going to ask you that because I was wondering like if it was a good like reveal or if it was, you know, if you predicted it or not. It's good to know that it worked, you know.
Yeah. And it adds to the film as well because, like, the person that has been causing a bad name for Batman is the person that he was, the last motivation he had to still be Bruce Wayne. And now that last thing is gone for the rest of his life.
Right.
And now it's turned over to the side of the thing he's sworn to fight against.
Mm-hmm.
This movie's really fucking depressing.
I think this film kind of shows Bruce Wayne's lack of foresight. Like whenever something bad happens to him, he's like, "Man, my life's over. I'm just gonna be the Batman."
Don't we all wish we could do that?
But you know, I don't know. I couldn't help but actually compare the Batman here in the movie, and not just movie, but throughout the DCAU to the current Batman we're seeing today, as being the guy who most recently with Beware the Batman. Bruce Timm really managed to establish Batman as not just this Mary Sue character, because let's face it, he is a Mary Sue, where he's able to figure out how to take out his opponent, because that's what he is. He's the great detective. But in this one, in particular the movie, he basically also gives out that even this guy who's a Mary Sue has his own flaws. And at this point, it's the flaws that make him what he is today.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think this movie really has like a lot. Like, if you look into it, like it has a lot of deep, like character development for Bruce Wayne and Batman in the DCAU, but also because, like I was saying with Over the Garden Wall, right? Like, you have the people like us who like really go deep into stuff like this, but for the average person who's just looking for a good time, like it also delivers that. It also is just on, you know, the surface, just a really entertaining, fun movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So just some final thoughts, and then we should wrap things up.
Yeah.
Just a couple of words, George.
Final thoughts.
Very brief.
I thought it was a very well done piece of animation. It does show that it was originally going to be a direct-to-video release. but is not as bad as some other movies that were meant to be direct-to-video and got a theatrical release, if you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Carson?
Yeah, I think it plays like a really, really good episode of the TV show, and I think it's probably one of, if not, and I might be overshooting, but if not the best Batman movie we've gotten, just from a character point of view. I think it's a really successful film overall, despite the less than, the animation's alright, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
but overall, really great movie.
Okay,
I would agree over you. This Massive of the Phantasm is without a doubt one of the classic, not just a classic animated Batman movie, but one of the great animated classics of the 1990s. It does pretty much give us a more human version of Batman, how he became to be, and what gives him such a tragedy, and what would make us sympathize him. I honestly wish that if we see another animated Batman series, it would give out this level of, how I say it, flawedness in Batman's resolve to become the Dark Knight.
Okay.
That's
This is my final round. I think, based on one of the best cartoon series of all time, I would say. They did the best adaptation of that series, I think, is possible, really, especially for a cinema. I think that's really important to bear in mind, that it's not just like a feature-length episode or straight to DVD. That is meant for the cinema, and they did the best they could. So it's a disappointment that it's box office bomb, but you can always count on Bruce Timm and the production company to deliver the goods, at least in that period.
Yeah. And really, even the other two movies that they did based on the Batman animated series were really good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was just a really good team, you know? It was kind of the stars aligned for the DCAU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so next week we've been really organised. Surprisingly organised.
Yeah, that's saying a lot.
So we've already decided on what we're gonna watch the rest of the month. So next week we're gonna be watching the Flashpoint Paradox, continuing our DC theme.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that.